What's going on at the Google gulags? We're going to talk about it today. I've been trying to tell people for a year how insanely rigged the search results, the algorithm, and also the internal hate speech and such laws that they're implementing with the AI and machine learning to then rig the entire search results. It's been going on for a while, and I think Project Veritas and James O'Keefe today brought a lot of awareness to what's going on and what we all know is going on at Google. So we're going to talk about that. First thing I want to talk about is my Facebook ban. I just want to let people know, let my Facebook audience know that I'll be 2 more days. I was supposed to have a 3-day ban. It's been 3 days, but apparently they've extended it 2 days because I didn't log in properly and they didn't start the counter. Also, they're withholding thousands of dollars from me. They always pay on the 21st. It's now the 25th, I believe, and they haven't paid. They said it's on the way, but it already said paid, so I don't know what's going on. I don't care, though. I'm not playing the victim. I'm not complaining. Just to let you guys know, I'm working on other things. I'm going to throw live events soon. I'm also going to use our people, our family, the people who watch this video, as advertisers. So when you see me start to advertise stuff, it's going to be selective. I'm only going to choose things I love. It's going to be authentic and also support the people who support my stream. Because if you see me talk about a song, a brand, or a company now, it means that it's taking the place of YouTube and Facebook ads. On every video that I have my own ads, I'm going to turn their ads off. So they're going to make less money. I'm going to be less dependent on them. And eventually, it looks like we might have to, unfortunately or fortunately, move off of Facebook, YouTube, and Google. I think we all know it. They're just getting crazier. Let's talk about it without wasting any more time. I really respect Ravelry. I don't know if you guys know, but Ravelry, some sort of crocheting and knitting website, one of the biggest ones, they came out and put a tweet and said, you know what? We can't support any of our supporters who support the Trump administration. Basically, if you support the Trump administration, you're some sort of supremacist and you fight for the ideology of white supremacy. So they kicked all Trump supporters off of their platform. The reason I say I respect that is because the way that they feel is the same way that Facebook feels. It's the same way that Google feels. It's the same way that Twitter feels. It's the same way that a lot of these big wigs at all these companies, not all the employees, but a lot of them, that's how they truly feel. So I always have respect for someone like Ravelry who just comes out and says it and says, you know what, we hate Trump supporters, we hate you, we don't want you to exist, we want to banish you off of our platform. To me, that's a little bit more honorable, although of course it's authoritarian and disgusting. It's much more honorable than the Facebooks, the Googles, and the Twitters that lie. They're snakes, they're sneaky, they do everything under the sun to pretend like they're not rigging their algorithms, to pretend like they're not meddling in elections and rigging elections, to pretend that everything that they're doing is not worse than what happened in the book 1984. That's what they try to say. I'd have much more respect for them if they were like Ravelry and just said, you know what, we hate your guts. If you're a Trump supporter, we hate you, we're going to ban you, we're going to cheat, we're going to lie, we're going to steal, we're going to do anything we can to win the election because we hate you so much. Just come out and say it like Ravelry. Don't do all this little side stuff like they're doing. So James O'Keefe dropped a big bomb on them today, metaphorically, obviously, when he got a Google insider to explain how they really feel about Trump supporters. And a big one that dropped was an email that basically said that Ben Shapiro, PragerU, and Jordan Peterson were dog whistles for Nazis. I'm not the biggest Ben Shapiro fan. Obviously, I've critiqued his foreign policy recently and disagreed with him in a respectful way. But Ben is a Jewish, super pro-Israel conservative. He's nothing like a National Socialist, which is a Nazi, Jewish conservative. Very, very different, but according to the left wing, they're literally so psychotic, they can't have a rational argument about everything. Everybody who disagrees with them is a Nazi. If you have common sense, honorability, basic nuance, you can read the news and decide for yourself and have a brain for yourself, you're a Nazi. That's what they think. So Ben Shapiro, Nazi. PragerU, Nazi. Jordan Peterson, who's a psychologist who just talks about self-accountability and cleaning your room, Nazi. God forbid he teach people self-accountability like these communities, like women, the black community, the Hispanic community, that liberals are just dying to keep down. They don't want you to have responsibility. They don't want you to take care of your family. They hate people like Jordan Peterson and the Ben Shapiros. Regardless of what you think about them or their foreign policy or everything they say, they preach basic self-accountability. That's the reason that the left wing hates Shapiro, Prager, and Peterson, and it's just ridiculous to call them a Nazi. But here's the thing I've been trying to explain for a year. everything is already rigged, and here's how they're justifying doing it. And I'm no politician, I'm no lawyer, but if you are, maybe that's your expertise, try to figure out what you can do legally or responsibly to solve this problem, because this is what they're doing. So they claim like, no, we have these algorithms and they're totally fair and they do this, but what they've done over the last 2 years, and it's like Google and YouTube, the search result bar, you might as well not even use it because you can't find anything anymore. They've buried everything. They start with fake news. So of course, before Donald Trump said fake news, the liberal media and the tech companies said, Trump is fake news, he's lying about everything. Trump flipped it like the legend that he is, and now everybody thinks of them as fake news because they are. Let's watch this clip from CNN fake news. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is the woman that they said Donald Trump raped. They're putting it all over these magazine covers. Oh my God, this is our new Christine Blasey Ford. Listen to what she says.
You don't feel like a victim.
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished, which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt.
But I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
We're going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
I mean, could these news networks possibly stoop any lower? That's insane. I mean, this woman clearly probably has dementia or some sort of mental illness, and they must have just scooped her up, threw her on CNN, tried to use her. It's abuse, but that's all they do. They abuse little children, they abuse people at the border, then they flip the story and play the victim and act like they're saving women and children. It's disgusting. So, point I'm getting at, in Google world and in YouTube world, CNN is real news. That's real news that you're watching there. So that's real news, and I'm fake news, Tim Pool's fake news, Joe Rogan's fake news, anybody that's not Fox News, CNN, Bloomberg, the big boys. It doesn't matter if you're left wing or right wing or independent. Everyone is fake news. We could trust CNN even though they've lied. We could trust Reuters and AP even though they've retracted more stories than a lot of independent sources have had to. We can trust all of the biggest liars in the world. They live in opposite world. The biggest liars are the trustworthy news. The most trustworthy people are the #1 enemy conspiracy theorists. So they put that in, and when you search in YouTube, you can't find my videos. You can't find a lot of people's videos because they've rigged it for trusted news to sit at the top. So they say that's an unbiased algorithm. It's obviously not. It's totally rigged. Then they sit down with these speech organizations and political operative groups like the ADL, the SPLC, whatever you want to call them. And then they say, we got to stop hate speech. Hate is becoming a real problem. And of course, hate speech is just an anti-free speech narrative to politically say, everything I disagree with, right-wing ideology, self-accountability, taking care of your family, that's all hateful. Basic policy on illegal immigration, that's hateful, that's hateful. Our lies, our deception, our sneaky, disgusting agenda, that's all great. So they put themselves at the top, and then they say, you know what, this is a fair algorithm on Google. No, we're not rigging it. We have our terms and conditions, our policies, and then we let the algorithm play out. 4 years ago, the Google algorithm was great. It was actually top-ranked stuff to the top, whichever people like, whichever is, and then they started meddling and saying, you know what? You're untrusted. So not only do they have top news, which is already a huge puff piece to all the mainstream media that is dying, nobody wants to watch, they're literally crumbling, and tech companies are like, let's save them. Then they say, it's hate speech. And of course, if you've listened to any left-wing people, and I'm going to get into the right wing and how they lie about free speech a little bit too. Not everyone. I know, oh my God, Anomaly, how dare you say that? You're a plant, you're an operative. No, I'm not saying all right-wingers. They're obviously better when it comes to free speech, but there's some liars on the right, so we're going to get into that. But the left wing, a lot of them, not independent sources, but many of the mainstream, they think anybody who's right wing, anybody who supports the president, anybody like Epoch Times who's neutral and takes a stance like, Trump's doing some good things, they hate you. They want to investigate you. They want to talk to all your employees. They want to frame you. They want to say somebody did something. Like, they're trying to destroy you financially, your character. They want to assassinate your character. They want to destroy you if you're neutral. So in their little psychotic brains, and these people who sit at these board meetings at Google and Twitter and Facebook, unfortunately, the people calling the shots, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like normal liberals and conservatives who are sitting watching this stuff and like, oh my God, these people are going full psycho. And then they get kicked out and they bring in more people. Anyway, so they say, you're fake news if you're not mainstream, dying, dishonest media, and then we'll rig it that way. And then if you're right wing, it's hateful, it's hate speech. So we don't want hate in our thing. So there's 2 or 3 ways that they rig it, and by the time that they coded that, and then they say, no, we just coded it that way. We're not meddling. We just, no, you coded it different than it was 3 years ago, not to evolve and make it better. They used Russia meddling, so they said, RT. We can't have RT. We can't have Sputnik news. The reason that they don't have RT and Sputnik news, yes, it's Russian, and I'm not saying it's great. Of course, there's going to be some Russian propaganda in there, but they're Christian. Russians are mostly Christian. They're mostly, I mean, look at RT and look at the New York Times, and you're like, how far is the New York Times fallen? But they do that. That's fine. Okay, you can't find RT and you can't find Sputnik. Did they do that to Al Jazeera, which is state-owned by Qatar? No. Did they do that to BBC, which is state-owned by Britain? No. Did they do that to the CBC, which is owned by Canada? No. Did they do that to all these other news organizations that are literally state-funded, news for foreign countries? No. The point is, they lied about everything. So they say foreign meddling, we're going to get rid of all the Russian news because Russian news is probably the most right-wing news out there. We're going to leave all the left-wing Al Jazeera-style news. They're allowed to free flow, even though that's foreign collusion. So they used the words fake news, hate speech, and foreign collusion and foreign interference in news. And also, China took out full-page ads in Iowa to lobby against Trump. You have a foreign communist country lobbying against the president of the United States, trying to lobby for trade deals that help them and hurt the United States and convince farmers in Iowa that, oh, it's going to help you. It's communist China taking out full-page ads in Des Moines, however you say it, Iowa newspaper. That all flies because they don't care about foreign collusion. They don't care about foreign meddling. Everything that they said that Trump did, oh, he talked and worked with these countries. They sold uranium to those countries. They got millions of dollars from banks and billionaires in those countries. They've done everything that they said Donald Trump did times 50, and it's been a year and a half, and they still can't. Oh, Mueller. So fake news, rigged the Google and YouTube algorithms. And Facebook, they're cracking down on people. Russian collusion, ban only right-wing foreign news, keep all left-wing and communist news. Hate speech, ban everything that's hateful to the left, which is literally everything that goes against their psychotic agenda. They're lying about everything, and I'm not knocking it. I think James O'Keefe and Project Veritas does amazing work. I'm always pumped when they do stuff. I'm just saying respectfully, I don't need Project Veritas to tell. I've been telling people this stuff. I showed people back in I don't know, a few months ago, how Tim Pool is on Dave Rubin's platform and saying, YouTube is meritocratic and libertarian. Like, I was like, what? He's telling Dave Rubin that YouTube is meritocratic and libertarian. I like Tim Pool. He does great work. He's maybe the last liberal alive that has a head on his shoulders and stands up against speech. But how can you be the top censorship guy? I was just asking myself. I'm not hating on him. I know, Anomaly, you're jealous of Tim Pool. No, I'm not. I love the guy. I think he's doing great work. I'm pumped that he's actually doing a lot of good work. But I'm asking myself, as a consumer of news as well, that's why I even do this, because I'm tired of all the liars, how is the top anti-censorship guy going to go on Dave Rubin, one of the biggest libertarian platforms, and tell people that YouTube is libertarian and meritocratic when YouTube is rigging search results that's so insanely Orwellian that when they made conspiracy videos back in 2008 about how YouTube was going to be corporate and start doing this, even the craziest conspiracy video from 2008 was not as aggressive and insane and Orwellian as what Google's doing today. They're not meritocratic, they're not libertarian, and it's literally dishonest or unwise to tell people that it is. And that's what Tim Pool did months ago. Of course, Tim Pool now is like, oh my God, what's YouTube doing? But this has been happening for a year, and I've tried to document it, not to be mean, not to compare, not out of hate or any sort of anger or anything, just out of like, dude, you have a platform of 10 million people. Don't go telling them that YouTube's meritocratic when the search results are rigged by top news, rigged by trusted news, and everybody else is getting downranked. And Project Veritas comes out and they show you what they're really, the conversations that they're really having, which is Ben Shapiro is a Nazi. Listen, not a huge fan of Shapiro. I find him not the most credible or honest analyst. I've said that. I think he does some good things, some things I'm not very impressed with. Put that aside. I'm not a Ben Shapiro fanboy by any means. I actually get a lot of heat. Why don't you like everything Shapiro likes, his fans say. I'm like, listen, I'm just saying what I say. point I'm saying is Ben Shapiro is not a Nazi. Like, that's not a proper term or characteristic for Ben Shapiro. There's a lot of names and labels you could put on Ben Shapiro. A Nazi is not one of them. Dave Rubin or PragerU. You could say a lot of things about PragerU. You could call them all sorts of things. Nazi is not one of them. Jordan Peterson, you could call him a lot of things. Nazi legit makes no sense. So everybody to them is a Nazi. I'm okay with PragerU and Ben Shapiro and Peterson criticism, but the left wing literally makes no sense. That's why I tell people, like, they're like, yeah, but the right, it's like left and right, you know, it's all the same. And I'm like, not really. Like, the left wing ideology, take all this stuff out of it. It's bigger government. It's you know, higher taxes usually, more welfare programs. You know, I get it. I understand the ideology, but like this guy said on the Rogan podcast, I forget his name, he said, with my family, I'm a communist. With my friends, I'm a socialist. On a state level, I'm a Democrat. On a federal level, I'm a Republican. Or on a countrywide level, I'm a libertarian. With your family, you're a communist, and it sounds great, like everyone's going to be, but it leads to death, starvation, and chaos because big government does not solve your problems, guys. We have way too many taxes. They already have too much money and power. You don't need to give them any more. They need less. We need to go right wing. But on the same note, the right wing is a little bit shifty as well. I think a lot of the conservatives today, and you won't hear this, and I already got anomalies of plant for saying that. No, I'm telling you how bad the current modern left wing is. And I'm not saying all, but the mainstream and any sane liberals should probably at this point be railing against this. But a lot of these right wingers who are going to say, oh my goodness, Google's censoring speech. In 2 weeks, they'll be writing up bills with Ted Cruz saying, we need to stop anti-Semitism. So it's like, do you really want to fight free speech? Or are the, you know, Ben Shapiro's and the Ted Cruz's of the world going to do the same thing in 2 weeks that Google did? So I find that the right wing, a lot of them are very hypocritical, and they will try to pass speech resolutions and regulations when it goes against anti-Semitism, which, one, makes no sense for free speech. Two, it's the same thing as calling everything racist when it's not on the left. And three, it's actually hurting Jewish people, and it's making the hate for Judaism and Jewish people bigger. So it's like calling everything anti-Semitic is not helping anti-Semitism. Calling everything racist and sexist and, you know, all this ridiculous pride stuff where they have 8-year-old and they're sexualizing children, it's not making people like gay people more. It's making people like gay people less. So that's what the right wing doesn't understand. However, on the left, I don't know what you guys are doing anymore. Like, nothing makes sense. Environmentalism's been hijacked. I believe in environmentalism. A true solution for environmentalism is clean up the ocean full of plastic. Use not a plastic straw. That's fine. That's a solution. You know it's not a solution? In California, they have really thick plastic bags, and they tax you 20 cents, 10 cents. You're giving your money to the federal government, and they're not getting rid of plastic. That makes no sense. Also, what makes no sense is, oh my God, climate change. Let's give taxes to California and the UN. We got to give them our money because they're going to change the climate. No, they're not. The whole narrative is a huge lie. And you're talking to somebody who wants to stop using plastic, who wants to clean the ocean. I'm an environmentalist. I used to believe in climate change. It's a huge lie. From the sun to volcanoes to even NASA's data that they admit in 2018. I've read more of it than most environmentalists. I say, have you read the climate change website on nasa.gov and heard what they do? No. They admit that they don't measure most of the continent. They say it's melting in some regions, it's growing in some regions, and we can't measure all of it. No, they don't know anything, and they admit that. It's just people, climate change, let's march in. No, clean the ocean, get rid of plastic, do things that make sense. The reason I'm saying this is because the left wing means well, but they're being led by their heart, not their brain or their soul. So they're constantly being manipulated. Left-wing environmentalism is a lie. Left-wing racist combating, all these groups, it's all a lie. Left-wing feminism today, in the modern era, in the women's movement, is a lie. Left-wing media is a lie. Like, left-wing anti-Trumpism is a lie. Left-wing tech companies are not only a lie, but they are becoming so powerful and Orwellian, there's nothing liberal about what they're doing. It's straight up authoritarian or Orwellian borderline communism, which maybe I guess is far, far left. But the point I'm saying is, I don't know what makes sense on the left wing anymore. Like Kyle Kalinske and Jimmy Dore once a week when they talk about how Ben Shapiro's lying about the war in Iran and how Russia collusion's a lie. Yeah, then they're great. It's like, yes, you're right. Thank you, Kyle Kalinske, you're right. Ben Shapiro is a liar, and he's lying about the war in Iran. Thank you, Jimmy Dore. Thank you guys for calling out Russia collusion. But besides that, what other substance is there for a wise and intellectual person on the left wing? I don't know anything. It's all rooted in not understanding what's going on, or bare minimum, trying to solve it by making the problem worse with giving government control of health. You want to stop health, you want to help health in America, and you're a progressive, regardless of who you are. Ask yourself why there's nitrates in the water. Ask yourself why plastic is polluting the water we drink, the food we eat. Ask yourself what aluminum does. Ask yourself what's in the products that we eat and that we wear and that we put into our bodies. Ask yourself what the FDA is doing. Ask yourself what's going on in the medicine industry. Ask yourself why we're the richest nation ever, but we're super obese. Ask yourself why heart disease is so bad. Ask yourself why our current health is going, backwards. For the first time, our life expectancy is going down. Ask yourself why more people are dying off opioids than ever. Ask yourself why hospital accidents cause more deaths than God knows what. Probably 20 times as much, 100 times as much as gun violence. I don't know for sure. I haven't checked the statistics. I like to be 100% accurate, But ask yourself, all of those things. You want to fix health? Start at the root. Take care of yourself. People are obese. People aren't taking care of themselves. People are eating poisonous water, drinking poisonous water, and eating poisonous foods, and using products that are seeping into the foods. They're, all of the plants and vegetables that we're eating. To get an organic label, it costs money. So you feed people poison, it's cheap. You want to put in organic, slap an organic because you actually take care of your food logo on it, you have to pay money. It's all a pay-to-play scheme. It's all a lie. So don't tell me, as a progressive, you're going to help health in America by raising taxes. Oh no, we're not going to do it. No, you're raising taxes. Someone's going to pay for it. I guarantee you it's not going to be the Federal Reserve. I guarantee you it's not going to be Big Pharma. And I guarantee you it's not going to be Wall Street or the billionaires. I guarantee you. And even Bernie will say when he's, oh, well, no, it's going to raise the taxes, but it's still going to save you money. You're putting the entire health industry into the hands of the federal government without solving any of the root problems. So you're just going to have fat, disgusting, pumped up, cancerous people running in and out, getting free health care, bloating. You're not solving the root of health. So it's all, what the point I'm trying to get to is every left-wing ideology and left-wing movement, as someone who used to buy into a lot of this stuff, it's all a lie. And the censorship is growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And like I said, there's censorship and lies on the right wing too, and I'm one of the only ones who call it out. And I get here, normally you're a plant. No, I'm an honest person who actually wants free speech. I'm not playing a sports game where it's cool when Ted Cruz takes away our speech because Ilhan Omar. No, that's the big lie that they're selling everybody. Point I'm getting to is Google, Facebook, Twitter, Ravelry, at least they pointed it out, Pinterest, Airbnb, who's now working with George Soros and the Koch brothers, all of these tech companies, all of these media companies. Patreon's now working with George Soros and the Koch brothers. Search Patreon, Airbnb, George Soros, Koch brothers. See what comes up in Google. They hate us. They don't want us to exist. They don't want us to make money. They don't want us to vote. They literally would wipe us off the face of the planet if they could. And they're making that obvious. So what I'm saying is it's great. James O'Keefe is doing the Lord's work. He's doing amazing work. But to the people, stop running in circles talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Stop talking about, Ilhan Omar. That's fine. You can weigh on her once in a while, but we don't need a big investigation. We don't need all this stuff to know what they're doing. They don't like us. They want to censor us. They're rigging their algorithms. So I'm thinking multiple things have to happen. One, we eventually just have to move off these sites. I know a lot of people are building their own platforms. They're building their own social medias. It's going to take a while. These are such huge websites. And I do want to say, too, when it comes to Snapchat, to Twitter, to Google, to Facebook, they spend millions of dollars to figure out psychologically how to keep you on the platform. So if you're ever scrolling on Instagram or Twitter and you wonder why, like myself, you're not really enjoying yourself, but you can't get off, they're spending millions of dollars with the top psychologists using artificial intelligence and other, programming techniques to figure out how to psychologically addict you to their app so you literally can't leave. They're trying to mentally enslave you into the app. And I'm not knocking them. I get it. That's the grind, Make people use it, get more ads, get more money, get more data. I get it. I'm not knocking them, but I'm saying it's going to be hard to get off these things. People are not only financially tied to these things. A lot of people are not only family, people don't want to delete, Facebook and Twitter because their family's on there, or friends, or Instagram, and that's great. I'm not saying to do it right now, but understand eventually we're going to have to wean ourselves off these social medias. I don't want to do it. I've done very well on Facebook. They banned me for 5 days. I have 750,000 followers. I've reached 250 million people. I've launched some of the biggest names out of these pages. I don't want to leave more than anybody, and I'm not going to right now. But instead of relying 100% on them, now I'm going to be reliant 80% and 70% and 60% and then 50% and then 40%. So as they burn themselves to the ground, which they will do, we'll be ready and it won't catch us by surprise. So that's what I would say. Wean yourself off. Start looking into new ways. That's what I'm doing, partnering with people, getting ads, and just be ready, because I don't want to leave Facebook. I don't want to leave Twitter. I don't want to leave YouTube. I don't think anybody who uses it does. However, they hate us. It's just obvious. Ravelry at least said it. YouTube, they think we're all Nazis just because we're not communist, socialist pedophiles who think it's cool to have 7-year-old kids sexualized and like watching naked adults at a creepy rainbow festival. That's what they think of us. They're like, oh, you don't want to pump hormones into your 4-year-old kid? He thinks he's a remote control astronaut for NASA, and you don't want to pump him with hormone pills, wait till he gets older? Yeah, of course, no, I don't want to do that. No sane, rational person, whether you're liberal or conservative, wants to inject and change the sexual orientation of a small child when he doesn't even know what he's doing. I mean, it took me until 25, 26, 27 to really start to understand everything. When I was 8, I knew nothing. When I was 12, I knew nothing. When I was 16, I knew nothing. When I was 19, I started putting things together. It's child abuse. So they think child abuse is cool. Pedophilia and promoting pedophilia on Reuters is cool and trusted news. Literally, that's what they're doing. And if you oppose it, if you're sane, rational, you believe in anything like godly at all, anything normal, anything basic, level-headed, they hate you. They think you're a Nazi for not literally being a communist, fascist, authoritarian. But that's why communism and authoritarianism and fascism and far left-wing ideology doesn't work, because that's what happens at the corporate level. You have the little progressives at the bottom, like the Glenn Greenwalds, who they mean well. Glenn's a great guy. I think he's awesome. I love that he's on Tucker Carlson. He's right about Russia collusion. He's right about, censorship. He's right about all this stuff. He's right about the intelligence communities being too powerful. But the Glenn Greenwalds of the world will get squashed like a bug by the liberal communist fascists. They'll just use them. Yeah, we're going to do all this stuff for you, bro. And then they have control of it. Squash, squash, squash. They're not going to let no person can facilitate communism or socialism throughout a country as big and diverse as the United States of America and succeed. It's never going to happen. They are just using the feminist movement. They're using the LGBT community. They're using Hispanics. They're using the black community. And progressives, unfortunately, are not wise enough to see through that. They're like, Russia collusion's real, but we still play all these games. You're the useful idiot who's going to boost up the Bezoses of the world and the communists of the world who literally want one world governments, one world currencies, control over everything, from tech to this to that. It's obvious. So I'm just getting a little off topic, but not really. I just wanted to talk about that, because looking at everything play itself out, I just want to say, be ready to move. Be ready for them to do anything. Like me, I don't want to tell you how much Facebook owes me, but it's more than a lot, more than they should owe me. Maybe they'll never pay me. I'm ready. I've saved money. I'm not saying that I'll probably get a lawyer if they try to not pay me the amount that they're not paying me, but I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to grasp onto it. If they want to take 750,000 people away from me, if they want to do that, that's fine. I'm not thrilled about it, but I'm not going to play their little games. I'm not going to watch them spiral and be disgusting. And I promise you, when you do the truth, when you lead in the light, and nobody's perfect. We all sin. We all do bad things. But when you do the right thing, I do believe you're rewarded by God or the universe. You could be, a nihilist and think that's not true. Nothing exists. Nothing's real. That's on you. I'm just saying what I believe. When you do that, you feel good about yourself. You don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to have a sick feeling in your stomach because you know that you're not doing the right thing. You don't have to be a liar. You know, if you're telling the truth to yourself, that's powerful. No, it doesn't matter if people gossip. It doesn't matter if you know yourself and you know what you are and you know who you are and you know what you're doing. It's a beautiful thing. If you're living a lie, it hurts. So when you ask about these people and you're like, Anomaly, what about them? What about this? What about what about this group? If they're liars, if they're deceivers, if they're leading an evil life, trust me, it hurts them more than it hurts you. They're going to spiral in their own delusion and psychosis. I promise you. The Googles and the Facebooks, they're going to end up like the Voxes and the BuzzFeeds. It's a cycle. Hire people who don't deserve to be there based on their racial sexuality and crazy liberal views. Then you realize it doesn't make any money because that type of ideology is not a forward-thinking, capitalist, winning ideology. It's a victim mindset. Don't power through obstacles, blame everything, blame everybody else, and feel like you're the victim 24/7. It doesn't work on any level, whether it's political, social, financial, economic. It doesn't work. So it's not going to work for them. You think Facebook's going to grow and grow and grow when they're banning me and banning thousands of my followers every week? You think people are going to keep wanting to use it when they get banned 50 times and then the new platform pops up and it's better and everyone goes? No, Facebook is going to lose. Google is going to lose. Twitter is going to lose. They shouldn't. They have so much money, power, data, AI, facial recognition, Oculus Rift, three-dimensional goggles. There's no reason they should lose, but they're going to lose because left-wing ideology is a loss. And I'm not saying the progressive analysts you watch on YouTube. I'm saying the ideology behind the politics. What matters? That's what they do. Well, it's all political. No. And people think, oh, well, Anomaly doesn't know what Shapiro and them know because they know all the lawyer words and the economics. No. What's the ideology behind it? What's the truth behind it? What's leading those thoughts? Because if you have a policy that doesn't correlate to reality and common sense and how people actually act, and it's just idealistic or it's dishonest or hypocritical, doesn't matter. It's not going to work. So they're going to burn. You hire people who don't belong there. You pander to women and certain people and you tell them that they're above you on the hierarchical social scale. So if you say something, it doesn't have weight because you're not the right gender or sex of the day. And then your company starts losing money, so you have to fire them. And then you fire them, and then they cause a union and a ruckus like Vox and BuzzFeed and all of them, and then they call you racist and try to sue you. They're going to collapse if they don't turn around now, and it's almost too late. They're going to fail. So it's not a bad thing. It is what it is. I'm just saying be ready for the collapse because these people are spiraling at a satanic levels of evil and delusion and hypocrisy, and it's literally bizarre to watch. I mean, I don't know what they think they're doing. I don't know whose decision this is, but this is a product of people who thought the safe route would work, I'm just going to play it safe. Anomaly's crazy for, since 2008 was making rap music talking about deep diving stuff. He should have just talked about drugs and women and killing people. That's safe. No, that was the big lie. That was the big rap community lie that they launched in the 90s to subvert the hip-hop community, which worked very well. It was not hip-hop when it started. It started on dance moves and lyrics and meaning. So you believed the lie, the rap lie. You believed the economic lie. You believed the environmental lie. You believed the political lie. You believed the media lie. You believed the border lie. You believed the medicine lie. You believed the health industry lie. So it's all done. You had a good run. It seemed like the safe route to be a liar for a long time because the celebrities told you being a liar was cool. The mainstream media told you being a liar was cool. Most athletes will tell you being a liar is cool, but secretly, look on my Twitter at the Andre Iguodala thing where he talked about his coach was a Christian, I believe. He was taking them to church and he didn't believe in, gay marriage or whatever. And now he's blacklisted from the NBA, even though, and Andre Iguodala basically said, it's not that we hate this or, it's not that we don't, but if he doesn't agree with it, is he allowed to disagree? We're not hating on gay people. We're not saying all gay people are horrible or bad, but you're allowed to agree with that, and they push the Pride Month, but are we free? If Mark Jackson from the Golden State Warriors and Iguodala can't disagree or respectfully be like, it's not my thing. No, we're not. They're using the LGBT community to push authoritarianism and communism and a global, you can't possibly disagree or you're a Nazi. And that's the lie. So there's a lot of athletes who aren't saying anything. There's a lot of musicians who aren't saying anything. And I've heard from a lot of them. There's a lot of TV people who aren't saying anything. There's a lot of, teachers. I'm not telling you to just go out and say it because I understand it's hard. Do what you think is right. But I will tell you this one thing before we leave. The safe route. We are at a turning point. Not Charlie Kirk's turning point, but you get it. The safe route is not safe anymore because the safe route was a lie. It's okay to not say anything. It's okay to just do your job and do the best at it. That's the best thing you could do. But if you're following the lie, if you sold into the lie, and you think that that's going to carry you for the next 30, 40 years, it's not. And it's a beautiful thing. The lie has been shattered in the media. The lie has been shattered politically. And we are never going back. So Google can desperately cling on. Facebook can desperately cling on and act like they're moral superiors. They will fail. And because they are shattered and shrouded, rather, in a lot of lies, more lies than they've ever had to deal with. They probably had a few before, but after the 2016 election, they're grasping, and now they got 100 lies that are stacked up on top of them, and they just keep getting crazier. You're gonna do that. We're gonna promote 8-year-old kids and human trafficking at the border. Yeah, you're gonna lose. You're going against the natural order of the world. You're going against all that is good, whether you believe in God or not. You are going to hell, whether it's literally, metaphorically, physically, spiritually, psychologically. You're going to go to hell. Maybe all of them. And I don't want that. But to the Googles and the Facebooks and the Ravelrys and the Twitters, think about what you're doing. It's not hateful to be right about almost everything. Economically, spiritually, self-accountability. Do what you want to do. I'm a libertarian, not totally like, oh, I'm libertarian, but I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care what you want to do with your life. Just don't subvert the entire free world and turn us into a hellhole on every level, not have self-accountability, not have a structural plan to keep crime and keep things safe. They don't want, it's like criminals, good, humans who protect, bad, like everything is inverted in their world. They're living a satanic, evil, demonic mentality. And I pray for them. Have a discussion, have a debate. Talk to the 200 million, Trump supporters and 100 million Trump supporters or billion Trump supporters around the world that are old women knitting on your website, that are Hispanic, Black, Asian, white, from Tennessee, from Maine, from New York. There's millions in Los Angeles. There's millions in New York City. It's not just Alabama. And the late night hosts who nonstop talk about Alabama and Georgia. Your community, your city is disgusting. You're bringing back medieval diseases, typhus, typhoid fever, medieval diseases all over. There's tents, trash, festering, homelessness everywhere. You can't not see it. It's everywhere, all around your little studios. Do they ever talk about that? They're liars. Propagandists, losers, following a psychotically evil agenda. And talk about Georgia and Alabama all you want, that's fine, weigh in on it. But if you don't talk about your own home, your own surroundings, and you live there, that's where you go when you leave the fake studio, this is not going to work out. This is not going to be comfortable. It's not safe anymore. Eventually, you're going to piss off so many people that the hills are not going to be far enough away to stop the homeless zombies from going. So the safe route is no longer safe. And that's my inspiration for the day. Because a lot of people are like, for me, I know, how come you're talking about that? Like, listen to some of my raps from 2009, 2008, 2010. When I say I was liberal leaning, I wasn't a full-blown, idiot or a full-blown Democrat liberal. I was in more like I didn't really think conservatives or Republicans had anything of value, but I was talking about real stuff. You like the music. But the point I'm saying is my peers, record labels, everybody around me said, that's not the safe route. Why are you talking about George Bush and the CIA working together? Why are you talking about Osama bin Laden? Why are you telling the truth about the wars in 2008, which I was doing when no one was? How come you're doing that? Because I don't know. I can't live a lie. I knew it wasn't right. I knew that wasn't a good route. I didn't care that was maybe the quick. I couldn't do it. And now it's all playing into my favor. And now all the safe people who lived a lie and did dishonorable work because they thought it would make them money or fame, now you're going to suffer a wrath of very dark forces. And I'm not saying you particularly if you did it, but I'm saying it's never too late to just not be part of that crowd. There's no, the Googles and Facebook and the Twitters and the late night hosts, this is not going to end in a heaven situation for them. This is not going to end in a winning election. They are making so many people not only leave their platforms, leave their news stations, leave their websites, kicking them off. They're not doing anything good. It's all a lie. And that's just the way the world and the universe works. You can't do that for that long. And that's a big reason that America's suffering right now, because if you do the right thing, God or the universe will bless you. If you do the wrong thing and aid the wrong people and start the wrong wars and elect the wrong people and say nothing about all these wrong things happening, you get what we're seeing now in the United States, which is Satan, or whatever you want to call it. If you're unreligious and that bothers you, it shouldn't, but you get what I'm saying. What is growing? What is it when Reuters, the most trusted news source in the country, the breaking news, is promoting 8-year-old sexual pedophile material? What's that called? Is that God? Is that God's plan? No. Just a few things to think about. You don't have to agree, but that's where I'm at. The tech companies are rigging everything. They internally hate us. I appreciate Ravelry for being straightforward about that. And start building platforms off of YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter internet-wise. And also, I'm going to start doing shows in person, merch, and I'm working on live stream things, a lot of stuff. I've been working on it, but now I'm extra, I knew this would happen because of the Facebook ban and stuff. So thank you everybody who's supporting. And like I said, when I have an ad and I advertise a song or a brand, please support it, because one, it's something I actually like, or I'll turn it down. I don't care how much money. Two, it's a good person that deserves our support. And if we could grow like that, people pay me for advertising. I don't have to use Facebook and Google ads for that video. Eventually I can move all the way off it. I win. The person wins if you support them. And we have a whole family structure where it's like we're our own ecosystem. And that's what we're working on. And a lot of people are. So support the ecosystems like that. I'm going to try to build one because I'm tired of bouncing and bouncing and bouncing around. It's like I might as well just make my own so I don't have to get kicked out or leave 50 different platforms. Thanks for listening. God bless you guys. God bless your family. If you don't do anything, please sign up to my free email list. It's 100% free. Please click it. When my page goes down or something happens, I then have your email. Also, I'm working on doing a show, probably in Los Angeles to start, and then I'll take it around the country if it goes well. I have a whole plan, and we're going to make it, big league, bing, bong, bing. But, we're going to do that, and sign up to my free email list, because then when I launch it out, you can get that. Just please do, because I don't know when I'm going to lose my 100,000 subscribers or my 800,000 followers on Twitter or Facebook. My one page is demonetized now, but not my anomaly page. Who knows? But like I said, I'm ready for it, and it's all going to happen one way or another. Either they're going to turn around and chill out and be held accountable by Congress, lawyers, people. I don't know. I can't. That's not my expertise. Or they're going to crumble, and we have to move and not use their platforms as much as we all don't want to. That's what it is. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Thank you guys. Have a good week. I'll be back on Facebook in 2 days. I'll be back here probably tomorrow or the other. I'm taking these next 2 days to really get my business right. Yes, sir.